Hello and welcome to Radiant Joy Yoga and Fitness. Today, I'll be taking you through a 30-minute workshop on back bends and how to make them accessible. When we think of back bends, we often see the yogis contorted into weird shapes, but that is not the whole point of back bends. There's several benefits to coming into back bends. First of all, they create extension and lengthen the spine, and they open up the front of our body. A lot of us might have a little kyphosis. That's that hunching, rounding of the back, just from being on a computer, being closed off. So by coming into a back bend, we open the chest, and that expands the front of the body, increasing flexibility of your ribs and allowing for more lung expansion. It helps to improve your posture, your kyphosis, and it improves the mobility of your lumbar and your thoracic spine. So today, the props that we're going to be using, of course, are yoga mat. Grab a chair, any chair will do, a block, and your yoga strap. Grab your props and go ahead and join me on the mat. Before we go through any deep back bends, we want to ensure that our body is nice and warm. So let's take a moment to do a warm up for our back. I'm going to come down to all fours, spreading my fingers wide. Hands are stacked underneath my shoulders, knees directly underneath my hips. We'll start by doing a few rounds of cat and cow. So as we inhale, we drop the belly, open the chest, lift the tailbone. We feel the shoulder blades coming together. And then exhaling, pushing ourselves away from the mat, arching the spine, tucking our tailbone. We feel the shoulder blades pull apart. Now we're flowing through these, one breath to one movement. Now coming back down to our neutral spine in our tabletop, we're going to do some side bending to move through a lateral plane of movement. So we're looking over our shoulder, squeezing in our side waist, and we feel a stretch to the opposite side of the body. Inhaling, coming back to neutral, and then exhaling, squeezing to the opposite direction. Moving one breath to one movement. Notice if we're letting our bellies drop, we're going to pull the belly back into the backbone. Now coming back to center, let's do a few barrel rolls together. So we can drop the belly, push out to the side, lift up, push out the opposite direction. We're almost moving the spine like a jump rope here. And now let's change our direction of rotation. And coming back to our nice neutral tabletop position, we'll flow into Bhujangasana to help us stretch the back. So we'll bring big toes together, spreading the knees slightly wider. We exhale, bringing hips back to the heels, walking our arms out, grounding our forehead to the mat. Bhujangasana, or Child's Pose. Staying here for a few rounds of breath, allowing the back and the shoulders to stretch. To come out of our Balasana, let's walk our hands back, placing them underneath our shoulders, inhaling to push ourselves back up. Bringing knees in line with our hips, we come to Virasana, or Hero's Pose. Our first back bending posture I want to take you through today is called Setu Bandhasana, or Bridge Pose. So in order to come into this, we're coming onto the mat on our backs. Keeping our feet planted on the floor and knees bent. Once we're on the mat, let's walk our feet as close to our bottoms as we can. Our palms stay grounded on the mat. We're keeping our legs so the femurs directly in line with the hip bones. Trying to activate our inner thighs, squeezing them together. Let's take a deep breath in. We push down through the heels, activating through the glutes, lifting our hips up to the ceiling. We're lengthening through the chin, keeping space between the chin and the chest. Setu Bandhasana, or Bridge Pose. We can also bring our hands together underneath us, interlocking our fingers, extending those arms out, taking deep breaths in and out while we're here. Now to come out of this, we'll unclasp our hands and we can slowly roll back down one vertebrae at a time, bringing our tailbone back down to the mat. Now in your Setu Bandhasana, or Bridge Pose, you might find it difficult to lift your hips that high. And that's okay, it's a practice. It takes time to gain strength in the body to do that. If we're beginners, we might only be able to lift a little bit, and that's okay. We can use our block to help us maintain this posture. What we want to do, walk our feet as close to our bottoms as possible, plant our hands on the floor. We're activating our glutes, our legs. Take a deep breath in, push down through our heels, lift up. If this is all the further you come, that's okay. We can grab a block. Let's slide that directly underneath our sacrum, and we can release ourselves here for a restorative bridge pose. This is a very relaxing posture that you can come into. It takes tension off of the body, and you can hold here for a longer period of time. Another way we can utilize our block in Setu Bandhasana, I'm going to lift my hips, pull this out from underneath me. So we have a tendency coming in to bridge pose to open the legs. We can use our block to help us cue our inner thighs to energize. We're bringing our block in between the legs, squeezing it tightly together. Now, palms ground on the floor, activating our leg muscles and our glutes, inhaling, lifting hips high. Now, as we keep that block squeezed in between our thighs, it's a little bit easier to stay in alignment for this posture. And then exhaling, we'll slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. To get out of this posture, we'll go ahead and remove our block, place it out of the way, and we can roll over to one side if we like. Our next back bending posture we're coming into is Ustrasana, or Camel Pose. So to come into this pose, I'm starting in Virasana, or Hero Pose. So my legs are hip distance width apart. I'm sitting back on my heels. Now flowing into Ustrasana, or Camel Pose, I'm inhaling, lifting up to my knees. I'm actively grounding the tops of my feet into my mat. My my legs are hip distance width apart. So our femur bone's in line with our hips. I am lengthening through my spine, activating my Mula Bandha, so pelvic floor squeezes together, lifts up. My Uddiyana Bandha, or belly lock, so the abs lift up, squeeze together. Now, in order to protect the lower back, I like to cue this pose, bringing hands to the small of our back, resting on the top of the pelvis, fingers facing down. So lengthening through the spine, reactivating our locks. We're inhaling, lifting the chin up, and then exhaling. Hips push forward slightly as we open the chest, lift our gaze upwards. Our glutes are active here, our quads are active. Taking nice, even breaths in and out through our nose. Now to come out of Ustrasana, I'm inhaling. I'm going to bring my head back to neutral and then exhale, bend my knees and sink back into Virasana or Hero's Pose. Now what if coming down to your knees isn't an option for you? We can do Ustrasana standing. I'm coming to my mountain pose with my feet hip distance width apart, spreading my toes wide, gripping the mat, activating my Pada Bandha. So spreading weight evenly across the feet, active, spread wide toes, lifting my arch. I'm lifting my kneecaps, activating my quads, activating my Mula Bandha, so pelvic floor squeezes together, lifts up. Activating Uddiyana Bandha or belly lock. So the abs lift up, squeeze together. So coming into Ustrasana, so bringing hands, fingers pointed down, resting on my pelvis. I'm inhaling, lengthening through the spine, lifting my chin up, and then exhaling. Hips come forward slightly as I open the chest. Feeling that great stretch across the chest and through the front of the neck. Now we're being careful here. We don't want to dump our head all the way back to protect our cervical spine. Now inhaling, I'm lifting my head back to neutral and exhaling, releasing my hands, coming back in to mountain pose. So that's a second way to do Ustrasana. Now, if you're not comfortable coming to the mat at all, which is understandable, we can do Ustrasana directly from our chair. I'm using just a regular folding chair. I'm going to turn so you can see me a little bit better. So I'm coming forward in my chair slightly so my back isn't resting on the backrest. Knees are bent at a 90-degree angle. My ankles are planted directly underneath my knees. Spreading my toes wide, lifting up my arches, lifting the kneecaps up, activating my thighs, activating my Mula Bandha. So pelvic floor squeezes together, lifts up, and then my Uddiyana Bandha or belly lock. So abdominals lift up, squeeze together. So I have a nice firm core. Hands come down to my side for my seated mountain pose. So coming into Ustrasana, I'm going to reach back, grabbing the side of my chair. Now as I inhale, I'm lengthening out through the spine, lifting my chin, and then exhaling, opening my chest, lifting my gaze, taking a few rounds of breath while I'm here. I'll take a deep breath in. Let's release our heads back to neutral, and then exhale, release our chair. Ustrasana, Camel Pose. Our next back bending posture we're flowing into is Bhujangasana. Bhujanga is cobra, So Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. So to come into this, we're going to take a prone position laying on our stomachs. I'm coming into my hero pose. I'm going to walk my hands out, lowering onto my belly, extending my legs behind me, lowering my forehead to the mat. So coming into Bhujangasana or Cobra Pose, my hands come to my sides, pressing palms into the mat. My elbows are bent at a 90-degree angle. As I breathe in, I'm going to lift myself off of the mat. So lifting shoulders, roll them back, squeezing shoulder blades together, opening my gaze. So my back muscles are quite active here. I'm squeezing my glutes slightly, maintaining a nice long spine, feeling a stretch through the front of the neck and the chest. And exhaling, I slowly lower back down to the mat. To come into a slightly more active version of Bhujangasana, I'm inhaling, lifting my head and chest away from the mat. I lift my shoulders up, roll them back and down, pushing my hands into the mat, lifting the torso away from the mat. Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. Exhaling, slowly lowering myself back down to the mat. Now, if you're a beginner, that type of engagement might be a little hard for you. So let's start over. Coming down to our bellies. I'm bringing my hands directly underneath my shoulders this time. I'm going to lift my hands off of the mat just a little bit. Inhaling, lifting off of the mat, rolling my shoulders back, just staying right here. Nice deep inhales and exhales. My legs are active, glutes are active, the back muscles are active. Stretching across my chest, exhale, lower down. So what if you're not comfortable with coming down to the mat fully? We can do Bhujangasana or Cobra Pose from our chair. So I'm back in my folding chair. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me better. Coming into my mountain pose. Ankles are directly underneath the knees. I'm spreading my toes, lifting my arch, pushing feet into the mat, lifting kneecaps, activating my quads. I'm going to activate my Mula Bandha or pelvic floor lock and my Uddiyana Bandha or belly lock. Keeping my hands right here on my thighs. Let's inhale, lengthen through the spine. We're going to exhale, hinge forward slightly. So hands stay right here, elbows bend. As we inhale, let's open the chest. Shoulder blades lift up towards the ears, rolling them back down the back side of the body, opening our chest. Holding here for a few breaths. And exhaling. Releasing back to a neutral neck and spine, and we'll walk our hands back up, coming back to our seated mountain pose. Now remember, yoga is a practice. There's no competition here, so do your best. Find what version of Bhujangasana or Cobra Pose that works best for you. And over time, you'll build up a little bit more flexibility and strength. So our next back bending posture we're coming into is Salabasana. Salabasana means Locust Pose. Let's join each other here on the mat in Virasana or Hero Pose. Let's bring hands down to the mat, walking arms out, and lowering onto our stomachs once again. Let's come all the way down. I'm going to bring my cheek to my mat so I can get set up. Arms come down our sides, palms facing the mat. My legs are staying in line with my pelvis, squeezing my thighs towards the inner line. I'm grounding the tops of my feet. Now, we're activating our glutes, activating our legs, squeezing our thighs together. Shoulders lift towards the ears. We're rounding the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades behind us. Take a deep breath in, and we lift head and chest off of the mat. Activating our back muscles, belly button pulls to the backbone, keeping a long neck, gazing at the top of the mat. Take another deep breath in, and we're lifting the legs. Taking nice deep breaths, and we can exhale to lower down, releasing onto our cheek. Another version that we might see of Salabasana or Locust Pose is Superman. We can bring our arms out overhead, lowering our forehead to the mat. Let's activate the body. Belly button pulls in towards our backbone, activating our abdominals, our glutes, squeezing, activating our thighs, strong legs, grounding our feet to the mat. As we inhale, let's lift the head and the chest off of the mat, shoulder blades pulling down, squeezing behind us, and then lifting the feet up. Keep length through the neck, look down at the top of our mat. This is the Superman version of Salabasana or Locust Pose. Let's exhale, release down. This is a very active posture, and if you're a beginner, you might not be able to lift the head, the torso, and the legs all at one time. So let's go through this together. Maybe if we're a beginner, we'll just start lifting the head and the chest off of the mat. So let's bring those palms down, forehead to the mat, squeezing our glutes, activating our legs, grounding the tops of our feet to our mat. Deep breath in as we lift the head and the chest off of the mat. So we can just start here, lifting the torso, keeping length through the neck, and exhale to release. And then maybe we do the legs by themselves. So keeping our forehead on the mat, belly button pulls to the backbone, activating our glutes, thighs, strong legs. Let's inhale, lift the legs off of the mat, and exhale to release. We also have the option to lift one arm and leg at a time. So we're going to extend our arms like we're coming into the Superman version of Salabasana. And let's activate our muscles. Belly button pulls to the backbone, shoulder blades pulling down the back, squeezing together. Glutes are activated, activating our leg muscles, grounding tops of the feet into the mat. So this time, let's leave right hand, left leg on the mat, inhaling, lifting our head and chest. Let's lift left arm, right leg. Exhale to release. And now do the opposite side. Deep breath in, lift head and chest, activate our glutes and legs. Let's lift right arm, left leg. Exhale to release. And to bring my hands underneath my shoulders as we come out of this, pushing myself up. I'm going to sink my hips back, extend the arms, big toes come together, maybe spreading the knees open wider to let my belly settle, grounding my forehead to the mat. Let's stretch the back in Bhujangasana or Child's Pose. This is a great counter pose for our back bending postures. It allows the back to ease and to stretch after activating it. I'll walk my hands back underneath my shoulders. Inhale, push myself back up. Knees come in line with my hips as I come back into Virasana or Hero Pose. But what if we're not able to come on down to the mat? Well, let's break out our chair one more time and we'll go through Salabasana, our Locust Pose, standing. I'm bringing my chair to the top of my mat with the backrest facing myself. I'm coming to my standing mountain pose. So feet hip distance width apart, spreading my toes, lifting my arches. My feet are evenly distributing the weight across them, lifting up my kneecaps, activating my thighs, activating my glutes. Pelvic floor squeezes together, lifts up, abs lift up, wrap around the front of the body. Arms come down to my sides. Now flowing into Salabasana, I'm going to use my hand on the back of my chair for some support. So as we come into this standing, we can only lift one arm and one leg at a time. I'm going to grab a hold of my back chair with my left hand. As I inhale, let's lift my right arm up overhead. Lifting my shoulder up and then rolling the shoulder back down the back. Squeezing shoulder blades together. I'm opening my chest, lifting my gaze, planting my right foot, left leg comes out. Squeezing my glute, lifting my leg. Feel that arch in the back, opening the chest. Exhale to release. And then we do the opposite side. Grabbing a chair with the right hand. Left arm comes up, squeezing shoulder blades together. Belly button pulls to the backbone. Opening my chest, lifting my gaze. Let's lift right foot off of the mat. Kicking back with the heel, squeezing the glute, arching the back. And exhale to release. If you don't have a chair, you can also come to the wall to do your Salabasana or Locust Pose. Now, one of my favorite backbending postures to come into is Matsyasana or Fish Pose. So Matsyasana is done on the back. Planting my feet, slowly lowering myself down. And then extending my legs. Now with Matsyasana, we are lifting the chest. We might want to take our hands, slightly bring them underneath our buttocks, planting our forearms and our elbows into the mat. Let's inhale. We're going to arch the back, lifting our chest, pushing down into the elbows, bringing the back of our head to the mat. You can point those toes, lengthen through the legs, belly button pulls to the backbone. Matsyasana or Fish Pose. Let's take a deep breath, bringing my head back to neutral, slowly lowering onto my back. Now this is a very active version of that posture. And if we have any neck issues, that can be really difficult for us. So let me show you how to come into that using props. I'm going to use my bolster to show you how to come into a restorative Matsyasana or Fish Pose. I'm bringing my bolster lengthwise down my mat. I'm going to bring my bottom right up close, slowly lowering my back onto my bolster. Then I have the option to lengthen the legs, hands come down, palms down to the mat. Release our forearms down to the mat, opening our chest. Now this version of Matsyasana or Fish Pose is very relaxing. You can hold this posture for a long time, and there's zero effort from you. The bolster is physically supporting you, so you can allow the body to ease into the posture, feeling that lovely stretch across the front of the chest. Matsyasana or Fish Pose. Now to come out of this version, putting pressure down into my elbows and forearms. I'm taking my hands, grabbing the edge of my mat, lifting my head back to neutral, and slowly bringing myself back up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me here in this 30-minute accessible backbend workshop. I'm so glad you came today, and I hope you found an accessible way to bring a backbend to your yoga practice. If you enjoyed what you see today, please like, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.